Okay, my rebuttal to that is money is inextricably tied to faith. I think God uses that throughout our lives, and I think tithe it serves as a point for always coming back to where every single bit of money comes from. And of course, children, anything that comes to them from their parents is as if it's coming to them from God. And I think parents, my caution to parents would be, don't readily dig your child out of a financially
tight situation.
Yes. That would be the most faith growing opportunity a child could have, and that's probably the hardest thing for a parent not to do. And that brings up the subject of, do you give your children loans? If you give them loans, how do you do you charge them interest? And as children get older, of course, you're probably going to give them more allowance if you are that kind of a person, or your children will have more other opportunities to earn money. You have to carefully think through, because everything that you're doing is absolutely tied to faith.
Okay, I would agree with you on that. And, we're talking about allowance as money, but allowance does not have to be money. Allowance can be anything that's a spendable commodity in your home. I think it was Melchizedek that when he came, now the story has escaped me, but he was given a tithe of everything, not just the money, because everything belongs to God, and our kids need to learn that from the get-go. And the part that they're giving back to Him is something that helps them learn to have faith in Him and to recognize that every good gift comes from Him.
Okay, well, and I need to just bring back the idea that I think what you said there totally supports my position as far as no allowance, because a child who has earned their money, so to speak, also then has the responsibility that is connected with that. And I think what you said there totally supports the idea of really no allowance. It needs to be something that the child has earned, and it can be a privilege. It could be minutes on their cell phones, or text messaging privileges, or car driving privileges. All of those things are really tie in the idea of for every action there's a reaction. So
they have to do something good in order to get a gift. I see. That's interesting. Okay, it's your turn.
It is?
Uh-huh.
Okay, here we have, it says, what age and how much should children get?
Oh, I'm ready.
Well,
bring it on.
I think we probably are way too generous with our children in the North America region, because children now, some of them, I wish I was the child and the parent, because the child gets more allowance money than I get salary. But for those that are pretty much on an even keel, I would say probably start with $1 a week. $4 a month is more than enough, don't you think?
No. Well, I really it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody, because there are some people that $1 a week for their child is peanuts. There are other people that $1 a week for their child is something that's prohibitive for them. So I think that you need to take into consideration the age of your child. You need to take into consideration what they're doing with that money. For example, I have a friend that would give her children $50 a month. That was their money. But out of that money came all of their school clothes and their play clothes. So they had to purchase their own clothing. They had to learn to budget that money, and if they chose to forego clothing, then they had that opportunity to spend that money on something else. They could save it for something that would be a treat for them. But if your children are doing nothing with their money, and only thing that they're doing is paying their tithe or their offering, and they're putting some of it in savings and some of it is free for them to spend, then you might not want to give them as much. So how much you give your child, the experts will tell you $1 for a year that they're of their age. Some experts will tell you that that's a little too much and you should go for 50 cents. So if you have a 14-year-old child, she would receive $7 a week. Now, that's, $28, $30 at the end of the month. If you've got 5 kids, you're talking a whole lot of money. And of course, so the things you'd have to take into consideration are your budget, the age of your child, what they're doing with the money, what they're required to do with that money, and how much you want them to accrue in savings. So that's my answer.
Very, very good. I'm left absolutely speechless.
I know, I astounded you. Oh, please give us a call.
Yeah, we have like 4 things here left to do. We want to know how you get your money, kids. How do you get it?
That's right. 1-800-775-4673. How much do you get? How do you get it? And what do you do with it? Give us a call. Welcome back. I'm Candy, editor of Kids Ministry Ideas magazine.
And I'm Rose Gamblin, education specialist.
And you are listening to Homeschool Companion, a radio show dedicated to home-based education. And we are debating allowance versus no allowance, waiting for some kids to call us in and tell us if they get any money and if they do, what they do with it.
I think that all of our kids probably come from families that don't give them any money. So they might not have phones. Anyway, we have a few more comments here that we want to talk about. We want to remind our listeners that next week we will be having a program on arts in homeschooling, and you won't want to miss that. And we will be giving away a beautiful poster, so you won't want to miss calling in for that either. And today, our last week of February, we are giving away either Think Big or She Fulfilled the Impossible Dream. You have a choice of either book. So,
Think Big is the story of Ben Carson, and She Fulfilled the Impossible Dream is the story of Eva B. Sykes. So they're both biographies. We hope you'll call in. Kathy got to pick one of them. I wonder which one she picked. By the way, excuse me, the bank that Kathy was talking about is from Crown Financial, and you can go online to I think it's either crown.org or crownfinancial.org and find it there. You can also find a piggy bank on Money Savvy Generation, which is www.msgen.com, and it is a little money savvy pig. Now, he doesn't have 3 compartments, he has 4. He has one for save, spend, donate, and invest. So this little pig encourages you not only to save money, but also to set some money aside to invest. And I would assume that that would be for college or, some larger fund like that to help your child in older years.
yes.
So are you ready for the next question?
Yes, I am.
Now my answer, I'll read this and you answer it. How's that? In 2 Timothy 3:1-2, in the New King James Version, it says, "In the last days perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, and unholy." If you give a child an allowance, doesn't that foster a love for money?
Well, it really can, especially if you just give them an allowance with no strings attached. You need to make sure that there is an understanding that every single thing done in a family is a privilege. It's a privilege to eat supper, lunch, and dinner. It's a privilege to have your clothes washed. It's a privilege to have a bed and a roof over your head. And by that same token, any remuneration that the parents may seek to give their children for chores or tasks that they do, that's also a privilege. And I think that handling that in a very loving manner, you can easily make it a matter of faith. But if you just give your children and give and give and give with no consequences for their selfish behavior, you're falling into that trap that Timothy was talking about there.